You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast, the hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. It doesn't get any better than that when the fat lady sings from the opera stage and tells us it's official, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we appreciate you guys coming by. The Chris Voss Show is the family that loves you but doesn't judge you, at least not as harshly as your mother-in-law. But you probably earned that. Anyway, guys, we always appreciate you guys coming by. We're putting out 15 years now, the billionaires, the CEOs, the Pulitzer Prize winners, the White House advisors, the astronauts, you name it. We've had some of the most amazing people on this show, and none of them are me. I'm just the guy with a mic and showed up and I said, hey, can I sit here for $5 a day? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, work that mic, dude. And I was like, okay, this sounds like a great deal. And here we are 15 years later. So as always, refer the show to your family, friends, and relatives, because we couldn't do it without you. And the show's free. So you basically just need to pay your dues by sharing it with the family and friends. And why would you not want to share it? The Chris Voss Show is a show that gives you the glow, the Chris Voss Show glow, they call it, of intelligence, knowledge, power, wisdom, everything you can possibly imagine to have with the great guests that we have. Come on. Tell them to go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, and Chris Voss 1 on the tickety-tockety. We have an amazing multi-book author who's joining us today on the show. One of his newest books is called We Love You, Madam President. And I believe it's a novel. It came out September 15th. 2023, and he's got a new book that he's just releasing. We're going to be talking about in a second. This is coming hot off the presses. Alvin S. Berger joins us on the show today, and he'll be talking to us about everything that went into his life, what he did, and he's got an interesting journey about what got him here and his put him in his life where he's now become an author. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. Good to be here, Chris.
It's wonderful to have you. And Alvin, can you give us your .com so people can look you up on the interwebs?
Sure. My website is alvinsberger.com. And I have all of my pictures, my sculptures, my books, my words of wisdom. I have 3 words of wisdom that I wrote for my children and grandchildren. Gives an insight into life. I've also have some financial things on there, how to do covered calls, but that's a totally different subject.
Cover calls. There you go. So now tell us a little bit, give us a short bio on you, if you would, some of your history. I know you were a dentist and some other things.
Yes, I graduated dental school in 1961, and the thrust of my whole life has been continuing education. So beginning in 1961, I took 1 course per month until I retired in 2002. Wow. I actually sold my practice in 2000 and stayed with the wonderful dentist who took over for me for 2 years, part-time. I was a fellow in the American College of Dentists. I was a fellow in the Academy of General Dentistry and a fellow in the International College of Dentists. So I had a wonderful, wonderful time. I loved dentistry. I also loved playing golf. Not so much when I was working. I love playing tennis, and there isn't much that I didn't love. So my bio is basically the path that I took in life has many, many factors to it that led me to being an author. So the first book I wrote, I have to tell you, there's some complicating things here. My wife passed away in 2010, and Berger, my significant other, her husband passed away in 2012. We were friends as couples long before that. So the interesting part about this is behind every man, there is a wonderful woman. And Vera and I have been together for 10 years. I tell you this story because I wrote to her a loving note very early in our relationship. and she said to me, "Why don't you write a book?" I
Ah,
said, "I'm not an author. As a matter of fact, I read very few books in my lifetime.
you
That
have that
seems
poetic gift.
it's incongruent." But I read technical journals totally. I was a voracious reader of dental articles, medical articles. And Vera said to me, "That note was so beautiful. I think you should write a book." And I said, I looked up in the sky, like, what is she talking about?
Huh.
And I sat down one day to try to figure out what I could write. And
I'm going to start reading dental manuals so I can write better DMs to girls on Tinder.
well, it's interesting how you go this path of life from one thing to something totally different.
Uh-huh.
When I was playing golf early on, I was a terrible golfer, and I gradually got better. So my whole thrust in life has been a focus on accomplishment, on
Mhm.
doing things to make one better emotionally, physically, and educationally.
Mhm.
So what I did as I said, when I played tennis, I was really good at that. I won a championship in my tennis club.
Mhm.
When I played golf, I was terrible in the beginning, and gradually I'm now at 8 handicap. For those of who don't know, that's
Oh,
pretty
wow.
good as
Yeah.
a 8 handicap.
Yeah.
So my thrust has always been for um, I wouldn't say perfection, but being good at what you did.
Mhm.
So when I wrote my first book, it was a challenge. It would be like a novice runner trying to run a marathon. It's if you have never written before, try to do it as I try to immerse myself as the person who is actually with these people on the site.
Mhm.
I have to describe something to you that happened to me. I was also a musician. I began playing saxophone 6th grade in high school, played all the way through junior high, high school, college, and the service. I was in a 32nd Army band in England. It was a show band. We would play
Mhm.
television shows, retreat parades, military stuff. We used to play about 4 hours a day. One day, I'm playing, and I didn't realize it. I didn't even realize my hands were touching the saxophone. It
Oh.
came out right from my head to the music. It was the most incredible sensation that I've ever had, being actually part of an instrument.
Mhm.
It applied here when I did the book, my first book.
Mhm.
I, I was actually with the people in the room, walking with them and trying to figure out what would they say, what would they do in this situation. I kept on doing the path. Each path took me in a different position. I love that feeling. I
Mhm.
did that with my first book, Adama, A Mind of Her Own, self-published that with the Create Space. And then I decided I think I wanted to do another book. It took me to do We Love You, Madam President, at least 400 hours.
Wow.
And I think you have it, but here
Mhm.
is the picture of it.
Mhm.
It was just recently republished with Blackstone Print and Media out of California.
Mhm.
And it is a book. Obviously, it's the book The Woman Becomes a President. Mallory Cranston and her husband, Matt Cranston, bring a DNA computer
Ah.
which has fetal brain tissue in it to make it more humanized. So this book is part science fiction, but I have to tell you that what I thought was science fiction is now becoming science fact.
Yeah, that's the way it's going these days. Can't keep up.
Artificial intelligence is actually very scary. And we'll talk about my third book about that in a minute.
Mhm.
But this book, obviously, she's the new president.
Mhm.
When they first bring this Adama, this intelligent computer, sentient computer, into the United States, the computer says, I want to become more human. And what they do is Mallory Cranston goes into a room and has, what do they call them? Parts attached to her head.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like a brain cranium sort of matrix-like thing?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So you're a part author also.
I'm a scientist amateur.
Okay, we all are. And what happens over a period of 4 to 5 hours, this computer infuses itself into her.
Wow.
And she becomes actually part of that. The computer is actually trying to become more human, which is obviously very difficult to do. But you've seen the new things that are going out with the robots that are basically human voiced.
Some of them are smarter than some people I know.
Absolutely, me included. And she, her first, if you don't mind my saying this, the first thing that she says, I want to have sex with Matt. And this is coming from...
Is Matt pretty hot?
Well, because the computer wants to feel the emotions of a human. And it is it's a relief. It's a merging of two sentient beings, this DNA computer with fetal brain tissue, and this wonderful woman who is now infused with the same knowledge of the world at her fingertips.
Now, who's Matt?
This is Mallory Cranston, who is now going to be the future president. During this whole time, there's interaction between the politicians of the country, namely the president, who is a perverted animal, and there is murder and mayhem. And the reason why this all occurred was I walked with these people through this book. I actually stood beside them. It's the same feeling that I had before with my saxophone. The merging of me with an instrument and me with the book. It's I don't know if any of your viewers have ever had this feeling of being connected to another person. Well, I'm connected to Vera.
Did she do the brain thing with you and hook up there?
Well, actually, we think very much alike.
There you go.
We have words come out together, and she is actually the inspiration to all of this. It's a very wonderful feeling to be so connected to another person.
There you go. Does your wife get jealous of this, Vera?
No, she loves it. She is so excited for this. She is my harshest critic.
Well, most wives are.
And when she says, "I like this book," I listen to her.
There you go.
If she tells me she doesn't like something, I also listen to her. What do you want to do? What's for dinner? You want to go to a restaurant? I'm listening.
It's always good to listen.
Well, are you married?
No, I've never been married. I can't afford the listening or the divorces. So there's that.
Okay.
They don't make them like they used to. You guys got the better age of them, I think. So it goes through this different process, an adventure of the sentient being. Anything more you want to tease out about the characters, why you chose them, and were they modeled after anyone you knew or movie stars, or did they just kind of came to you in your head? No, but
all of these characters are basically made up. The president, the description of the president being a perverted president. He has very little self-control. He screams and yells at those underlings around him, and it's part of the deep state Washington establishment, which is actually part of the next book. So the CIA is involved, and
it's always the CIA. It's always.
It sure is, and people are actually murdered for trying to help the country, and it's as I said to you, I take a path, and I don't know where this book is going. As I walk through it with these people I'll give you a perfect example. Mallory Cranston who is now. Oh, by the way, I did not want either Democrat or Republican Party involved because that would, if you say either one of them, you will lose half of your audience.
Yeah, it's true.
So this Mallory Cranston is an independent entity, and she is giving a news conference, and she goes to leave, and she stops in front of her car and says, "We can't go into the car. There's a bomb here." Again, when I did that scene in the book, I had no predetermined knowledge of what that was going to happen. I walked with her to the car, and I said to myself, she is going to find something wrong. And that's how that whole thing evolved. And then we found out how the perpetrators of this, we went through fingerprinting, went through the device that was used, and it came down to Home Depot. And then there's a whole series of chapters about how we found these terrible assassins and brought them to justice.
Oh, wow.
So the president actually dies in office. The vice president who takes over, he was not very friendly with the president, did not agree with his principles or way he acted. And he eventually, during the voting process, I have a whole chapter of how the voting process worked and how she is elected. And the final few pages are the sadness that his name is Vice President Ethan. The sad part for him was to say, you won fair and square, and you are now elevated to the presidency. And I have to tell you, when I read those chapters, I get goosebumps. And I try, and sometimes when I read these, I didn't even realize that I wrote them. It feels right to me. So I just really enjoyed the whole process of work of writing. I feel part of me is in that book, but there's something else about writing that's difficult. When Chris, if you would read this book, it would take you, I don't know, 4 hours to read the book, and then you would make a determination that, yes, this is a book, I like this, it isn't good, it has too much sex in it, has bad swear words, I don't like the book. Or forget all that.
Or maybe you like sex and swear words.
That's it. So I really like that book because of the basic principle in the book and the endings. However, I also, I don't know if you saw in my bio that I also sculpt. I began sculpting early in my practice.
So you're an artist.
Yeah. So
that's why you're so suave with the notes to the ladies.
I have these. That one is, I don't know if you can see it. It's a nude sculpture in bonded bronze. This one is actually an egg. It's called Metamorphosis. And that one is done. That's my grandson's hand that comes out of an egg. Now, we're mammals, so people don't come out of eggs, except for the duck-billed platypus, which is a mammal. And the last one is made in lucite, and those are dolphins. So I have many of those. Most of them are in Florida. My granddaughter has some. My daughter has some. And I really
make sure you charge them for it too. By the way, charge for it.
Well, as a matter of fact, I showed some of these, and I was offered for this seated. Where is she? There is she. My seated nude. I was offered $4,500, and I said no. I said I broke the molds, and that's for my kids. So that's it.
Oh wow, that's pretty awesome. So then they're getting their inheritance early, basically, is what you're saying.
That's it. So then I decided tell
them not to expect anything more. So you got the sculptures. That's it. You're cut off.
No, I got more. So then I decided I really enjoyed. I saw somebody on YouTube painting, so I said I'm going to do some painting. And this is one of my first paintings of dolphins underwater.
Uh-huh.
And this is one of my favorites. If I can, this is called it's a hummingbird. Where are we?
Mm-hmm.
There we are. A hummingbird.
Oh.
I like that one.
Yeah.
And this is one of my abstracts. And I've shown all these. So
that sounds like something that happened to me on a Friday after too much vodka.
Yeah, it's it. And this is one of my favorites. This is landscape.
Yeah, that kind of looks like that. Who's that one guy who used to do the art on TV?
Yes.
Bob, you know.
Oh yeah.
Used to do the landscapes, you know, and he'd talk really soft with afro hair.
I love those. So I really enjoy those things. The art part, sculpting, and I love writing. But the
reading dentistry manuals really does it, man. I'm gonna have to switch over to reading dentistry manuals.
Well, these journals are wonderful. So, as a matter of fact, I did some inventions in my practice. I won't go over details, but I did 2 inventions. One of them related to how to replace a tooth, and that is called the Berger bridge. My lab couldn't figure out how to do it, so I had to send them a model how to do it. But we're off the subject. This is not a dental seminar, even though I would like to.
Yeah, because we want to let's get your second book in. I think we've got all the goods for We Love You. Let's talk about this new book that's launching. I think you said in the next day or two.
Yeah, this one is called Tentacles of Corruption. This is that's the cover, and you see the octopus on top.
Yeah, there's like an octopus or some sort of Cthulhu on top of the Senate House.
And that one is related to the deep state disgusting tactics of people in Washington who are on the take. I can't mention this congressman's name, but he was from California many years ago. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the book. He had a menu of graft. If you $1.2 million, I'll put a dam on an Indian reservation, or I'll do $500,000 for some other thing. And he actually had a menu of things. He was actually convicted and put to jail.
I think I remember this. Yeah, a menu of like bribery stuff and things.
Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Yeah. So this book is also related. It has the computer in it, but a little bit farther in the book. It's about the graft of how people in Washington will sell this country out for money, for diamonds, for gold, for jewels. And I found it really difficult. It hurt me when I was writing the book to realize that there are people right now in Washington who are doing these very same things. They say, well, I have a PAC. Well, the PAC that's how they get their money.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they're all part of this whole deep state disgusting sale of items to other countries.
Yeah, so it's interesting when you understand the PACs and how the dark money works and everything else. You know, I didn't know something until recently. I just found out today. I don't know if most people know this. I haven't verified this. I picked this up on TikTok, so maybe someone should verify it. But it was being stated by 2 congressmen, and so they said it. So I would imagine it's not misinformation if 2 congressmen said it. But they basically admitted that, when they get those committee assignments, like the Ways and Means Committee, they actually have to pay an annual fee to their party to be on those, and it's like up to $400,000 to have that seat, and so they can't ask the constituents for that. So the lobbyists are the ones that make donations to pay for them to be on those committees. Well, guess which lobbyists on which committees want to buy a politician to do the thing? And, all this comes back to Citizens United, SCOTUS, and a bunch of other stuff too. But I thought that was pretty interesting. I did not know that's how it worked, but I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised either.
Yeah.
So this book is how people sell out their country for money, but it has a lot of. I can't tell you a lot of the things in this book because there are two or three major surprises.
Well, we don't want to give away the surprises. We want people to read the novel.
So I have to tell you, the reason I wrote this book, I have a good friend who was in Connecticut, and I was in Florida or here in Kirkland, Washington, or in Florida, and we used to speak usually 3 times a week. We spoke about everything from politics, sex, family, you name it, we spoke about it. He died last year. And before he died, my friend Bob Fiedler, before he died, he said to me, "You ought to write a detective story."
Oh.
And I said, "Well, that's totally different from everything I've written before." And I thought about it. So I sat down one day again. He said, detective story. I sat down and I began. Charles Barlow sat with a thump on his old chair, and that's how I began the book.
There you go. It's all about that lead-in.
This whole book is related to the same thing of selling out things of the country. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, there's a murder in this one. And there's very little sex.
Damn.
And
I just have to do jokes.
Tiny little bit, but it was very, very nice.
Okay. Well, nice sex is better than bad sex.
And they're not terribly descriptive. Excuse me. But I can't tell you the end. I can't tell you some of the beginning.
Tell the end. Yeah. Not a novel.
Only because I can't give away secrets. Because if you read the book Tentacles of Corruption, it's exactly that the tentacles of this deep state suck all the pleasure, the joy, the patriotism out of this country, and the hook inside that octopus crushes dissent.
Wow!
And that's basically the theme of the book.
I don't think that's a novel fiction. That sounds like real life, at this point.
Well, I think it is. I think it is real life, and it's patterned after real life.
Yeah.
But in this book is also. I can tell you about this. There is an artificial Adama, the same. I brought this computer right back in. It is sentient, and it is able to connect with people without their knowledge. So this one, I'll give you I can tell you this part of the story. It's not a secret. They're taking this computer, one of the main characters, and a driver to a safe house. In Las Vegas, and they decide they want to look at under the computer to see what's in it. So they lift the cover off, and it starts to sing songs of noises of, you know what a didgeridoo is from Australia? That sound.
Oh yeah.
And the sound of the horn and the shofar, which is on the Jewish New Year, it's the ram's horn.
The ram's horn.
Those songs.
Yeah.
And this computer infuses the driver, Peter, into its knowledge. And they end up going to Las Vegas, and they win a lot of money because he's able to now count cards.
Yeah. Plus you can party, eh?
Yes, it was. It was a party.
Yeah.
But everybody's watching, so there are people.
It's good to know that's what computers are going to do when they take over the world. They're just going to go to Vegas and gamble some money and do some blow and party.
So we're having a great time here. We could be in Vegas. You take your pick. So, but I have to tell you that I downloaded Chatster. You know what Chatster is? It's an AI
There's a
device.
few different variations of them. I have ChatGPT. I know there's like 500 variations of different ones.
So I use that because I have to tell you, I wanted to use an AI something in the book that was real. So let me read a part of it that I wrote.
Okay.
He took a deep breath as he looked at Adama, which could have smiled if it had a face. He was shocked as the lights blinked red, blue, and white. The sounds emerged as a song of hope. He could not believe his ears as the words reverberated in his mind. And this is what I got from the AI. I said, write a song of hope. Here's what it said. In the land of the free, where dreams take flight, united we stand with hope shining bright. Through the darkness of night, we never yield. Together we'll rise, a symbol of strength revealed. So this, and I have an asterisk to make sure that
it's very poetic, I should say.
It was poetic, and it was this AI information is incredible.
Yeah.
It could write a story for you.
Yeah, it can. It's writing books right now.
It is. I don't know if you ever watched America Got Talent, but in it, two guys come out, and and Simon Kroll is on the screen, and they have a baritone singing Simon Kroll's face and voice coming out.
Wow, that's man.
So it's really scary. You have to be really careful.
Him singing does sound scary, just in real life as it is, but
it is. So I just enjoyed this book, and what I did in writing it, I would write a page. It takes me about an hour to an hour and a half to write a page.
Mm-hmm.
I would go back, I'd edit it and make any changes, print it out, and now I have a book this thick sitting on my desk of the manuscript, which I sent off to Josh Adams at Blackstone Media, and we make corrections. They're very, very receptive, very helpful. So yesterday, I believe they did the final manuscript and it went to print yesterday. So it should be in Amazon, I would think, within the next 2 weeks, and Barnes & Noble. And also, actually, with We Love You, Madam President, so I have now a surprise for you that you don't know about. We hired a literary agent called Peter Steinberg out of New York. And I also, and through Josh and Trevor Smith, also from Blackstone, we were able to get Bookmark Press in Asia to help distribute the book, which is incredible to get it in Asia. Mm-hmm. And even more exciting was one of the reviews from Kirkus. I don't know if you know Kirkus Reviews.
Yeah.
A great review.
Yeah.
London Book Review had a great review. And at the last line was, this should have been a movie.
Ah.
So we heard that, and we have a joint venture with a Bookmark Press, Blackstone Media, Peter Steinberg, and myself to produce a screenplay for We Love You, Madam President. And the writer is from Universal Studios, and that should be done within, I think, 2 months. And we'll see if it goes to the theater. My sister Sheila and brother Howie, they're both 94, and she keeps on saying to me, we better get this done fast. I don't have a lot longer. So I'm saying the same thing. We better get this done fast.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, the coolest thing about having a novel is getting an option to have it potentially be done in the movie theater and maybe get up on the big screen, or they have so many little screens now. There's Amazon and Disney Plus, and there's all HBO and different things. So yeah, there's always the need for great entertainment. It sounds like it's topical because it's artificial intelligence is really hot right now. Like everybody's writing books about it and talking about it, and we use it on the show for stuff. So there you go.
It's a wonderful technique. However, you have to be really, really careful. Mm-hmm. I've seen it used with major political people saying things that I know that they didn't say or didn't mean.
But deep fakes.
The words came out of there was their face, their voices. So
we keep our AI computer in a cage. So if it gets out at night or tries to get out at night and cause problems, it's going to have to deal with the cage first. So there's an armed guard that we keep by it. But, we just plug in and, get some data and some text off it every now and then. And I think it does the summaries for the podcast. But it does a really nice job of that. But yeah, we keep our eye on it. It's got cameras and everything. And I think there's some machine gun turrets that surround it. So if it gets out of hand, as long as it doesn't assimilate the machine gun turrets, are probably okay.
Just whip it around.
Yep. We'll just fire it up and just load in. But you never know. It could go full Terminator on us in any moment. We programmed the machine gun turrets that if it produces legs, it starts moving about the cage, then it's time to put it down because we can't have that. No one knows where that goes from there. So we're just gonna hit the kill switch. So this is really great. You've written 3 books now. They're on the cutting edge, talking about AI. And then this book comes out when exactly? Will it be available on the Amazonian?
Well, Tentacles of Corruption should be actually in press, I believe, beginning yesterday. Okay. But it takes a while for them to get on Amazon. Yeah. My hope is that it will go nationwide. Blackstone Media is also getting We Love You, Madam President into physical bookstores in this country. My understanding is that at this point, they have got it into 15 stores and continuing to press to get more. So my hope is that people who see this podcast will immediately run to Amazon and buy the book. And also buying Tentacles of Corruption, which should be at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, fairly shortly. So it's really exciting. Do I want to write another book? I tell you, it takes so much time. We talked about before, about reading the book taking 4 hours. When you look at it, and then you give you an opinion. What I meant to say after that was when you look at one of my sculptures, it takes you 1 second to look at it and say, oh, do I like it or I don't like it? Or one of the paintings, it's very, very quick. For example, in a Museum of Modern Art, there's a huge painting on the wall with one red dot in the center. Does that have that? Is that beautiful? So you decide immediately, do I like that or not? And I think that same holds true with any kind of art. You can look at it and say, gee, is that pretty? In the book, I think it takes a long time to read and then to give a great opinion.
There you go. You got to take it in and enjoy it. Some people have to do that with art. They shouldn't pass a quick judgment. They should kind of take their time and soak it up.
Well, that's what my feeling is. I just really enjoyed writing so much, and I tell you, I have to give great credit to my wonderful companion, my partner, my significant other, my associate. You call her anything you'd like. Vera Getz has been the woman who has helped me, has criticized me, has made me a better man. So I am very thankful to her for all those things that she's done for me and with me.
There you go. Well, thanks to her for making you a better man so you could make better books and publish these out. Alvin, it's been great to talk to you about this. Give us your final pitch out to people in the audience to pick up your books and order them up.
Well, the first thing is I think you'll enjoy all 3 books. But in particular, We Love You, Madam President is a timely book, and it's done some things that we had all hoped for, to have a woman president who would probably be better than any of the male presidents we've had. Also, the new book coming out, Tentacles of Corruption, is very timely, and it has some great information about artificial intelligence. And the third point I'd like to make is you can go to my website, alvinsberger.com. All of my books will be there, sculptures, paintings, and my words of wisdom, and my financial advice. So all of those things, I think, will make everybody a better person and more knowledgeable.
There you go. That's awesome. Well, Alvin, it's been fun having you on the show. Great to have you. Please come back for your next book. And you gave us your .com for your site, so thank you very much.
You want me to give it to you again?
Sure. Give us one more time for the book.
alvinsberger.com. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the books. Chris, thank you very much. Are you sure we can't go for another hour?
Well, we've got some backups on the thing. And plus, we want people to go buy the book, because if we give them too much information, they're like, well, I know what goes on. That's the danger of a novel. So there you go. Alvin, I certainly appreciate having you on.
Chris, thank you.
Let's take and tell our audience to go ahead and pick up the book wherever fine books are sold. Watch for the new release on Amazon, and you can go pick up the book wherever fine books are sold. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss, and all those crazy places on the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you so much.